What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Bowie here, back at it with a more constructive video designed to help casual players become a little bit less casual, because what I want to do is I want to help you try to get better at Mortal Kombat 1. I made a 5-part video series of how to get better at fighting games using MK11. All that information is still very much relevant, and most of it will transfer directly over to this game, but there's several specific qualities of this game that require the need of a new video. Okay, but one of the things that hasn't changed is how you begin. So let's start by going into the practice room. Actually, before we get to the practice room, I just want to let y'all know, first thing you want to do in this game is choose a character, and you pick whatever character you like. They can be a low tier like Sub-Zero. They can be a mid-tier character like General Shao, or they can be a top-tier character like my boy Johnny Cage. And I'll go ahead and throw Katana up there too. She's top tier. People don't know it yet, but don't tell nobody. But the point is, whoever you want to play in this game, you can play them and you can win matches with them, no matter how high or low they are on competitive tier lists. Unless you are fighting the very best of the best, the vast majority of people that you encounter online, they're not going to be optimizing the full use of their character. But hopefully, since you will be, you will have the edge against them no matter who you pick. Okay? Matches online are much more about character versus character, or not so much character versus character, but they're much more about player versus player. Sometimes they can be about player versus connection, but hopefully you've corrected for that by picking someone with the best connection possible. But anyway, let's hop directly into this lab. All right, so we're in the lab right now, and I have two of my favorite blue dawning characters here, Sub-Zero and Katana. Okay, and yes, these are mods because I'm playing on PC. I apologize for the relatively low-end graphics. This is my weaker gaming laptop. But anyway, so before you get to, trying to find the most optimal combos and all this kind of stuff, the very first thing that you need to be looking at with your character are their moves, not the specials, the basic attacks. You need to be familiar with all of your character strings. And I want you to notice that this, the strings that are in, well, I should say the normals that are in red here, then have strings that branch off from them. So from this normal, you have a family of strings, Lin Kuei Storm and Arctic Hammer, so on and so forth. So what you should do is you should tag all the moves, the normals, that is, normals and strings, that are different. And you're going to want to turn this frame data on. And let's remember the settings here. Okay? So you need to perform all of these strings. You need to see what kind of characteristics they have. So this string, for instance, ends in an overhead. So you might be able to mix this with slide. Don't do that too much, though. You'll get killed. You need to make note of which strings start off as high attacks, which ones start off at mids, I should say, which ones start off as lows, and which ones start off as overheads. Some characters don't have attacks that start with all 4 of these. You need to make note of that if that's the case, right? you need to, you know, be aware of which ones are which. So for instance, in case you don't know the difference between a mid, let me see here. High attacks can be ducked. Mids cannot. See? So some of the most useful attacks in this game are mids. But mids overall tend to be slower than high attacks, with overheads being the slowest of all. Lows and mids are roughly the same speed overall, but this varies from character to character, okay? So you need to be aware of your strings. Not just what they are on hit, but you need to be much more aware of how they act on block. Oh, I should probably make it stand. So, the reason why I turned this frame data counter on is because this information is very important, vital. You see where it says block ADV? That says block advantage. And that tells you how safe or unsafe a move is. So for instance, if I press square as Sub-Zero, that move is 0 on block. That means that both me and my opponent can move at the exact same time after this is blocked. That's good for me. By contrast, this is very unsafe. You see how that's negative 23? That means my opponent can move 23 frames before I can, which means if they block this, I get comboed for free. The opponent gets a free combo opportunity on me. And against a good opponent, they will take that opportunity every single time. So you need to know which of your normals and specials are safe and which ones are not. Generally speaking, the further away a move hits, the safer it is. Though this is not always true. This move's always unsafe everywhere on the screen. So you gotta use it sparingly. By contrast, that move is kind of safe-ish. Some moves have variable frame data. So for instance, Sub-Zero's dive kick. If I hit it at the top of her head, it's minus 13. Very dangerous. However, if I hit it low, now it's minus 3. Safe. I might even be able to mash a poke afterwards. Speaking of pokes. Pokes in this game, generally speaking, are risky to do. Notice that Sub-Zero's down square, which we call down 1 in the FGC, it's negative 9 on block. Which means if you block someone that poked you, you can poke their ass back immediately. As a matter of fact, they can't stop you from poking them. So no more MK11 mashing down ones on block forever. Those days are over and done. Okay? Let me see if I can block all. Okay. So down ones are generally unsafe on block. Down threes very much behave the same as down ones. They're generally unsafe, but it varies from character to character. Down fours seem to be the safest pokes. They also happen to be the slowest pokes. But again, this varies from character to character, because Sub-Zero's down 4 is faster than his down 3 is. Right? So this is faster and safer, but it doesn't have the range. Speaking of range, you want to be fully aware of your character's maximum range. So some characters like Sub-Zero, his maximum range is probably around here. That's the range that his mid will hit from. Let me see. That's the range at which his low will hit from. Right around here. Sweep is not in this range, but these are some of his furthest ranging buttons. Back 3, forward 1. You need to be aware of your character's furthest ranging buttons. Like Katana, for instance. She's kind of bananas. So her sweep hits from all the way over here. Basically, match start distance, almost. So I step a hair closer than match start distance. I can hit this sweep. I can also hit her back too. So her effective range is much further than Sub-Zero's. You see what I'm saying? So you need to be aware of your character's furthest ranging buttons. Because if your character can play out here, there's no need for you to be this close. You see what I'm saying? You can be here. And this is where you ought to be when you're playing Katana. You should try to be right in this range for most characters, except for the ones that outrange you like Kenshi, right? Or Ashura. But when you're here, that's Katana's playground. And so that becomes a problem. This becomes a problem. 1-1 becomes a problem. Her low becomes a problem. You know, all of that comes into play. Speaking of normals, you need to know your fastest normals. So most characters, when you press standing 1, aka square or X on the Xbox controller, most characters have a 7-frame jab. Virtually everyone does. And so for most characters, this is their fastest punish. Okay? You need to be aware of what kind of damage your character can get off of your fastest punish. See, Katana gets a lot. And actually, I can get more than that. Oh, I did that. I messed up. .384. That's what Katana gets. Now, Sub-Zero, he's kind of on the struggle bus. He gets 335. Now, I only used the cameo once to do that. I could have used 2 reps of Serena to get more damage. As a matter of fact, let's see what that does. Okay. So 2 reps of Serena goes very far for Sub-Zero. Notice, he got 378, she got 38. Well, 37 versus 38. But he used 2 bars of cameo to do it, and she only used 1. That's important to note. Okay? So, knowing your character's fastest punish is vital. Okay? Speaking of punishing, when somebody does something unsafe and you block it, your ass got to punish them with a full combo. Don't punish with this. Don't punish with this. Punish with a full combo. Now, what am I talking about? Let me demonstrate what I'm talking about. Hold on. Bruh. Oh, Lord. Okay, that didn't work out as well as I thought. All right, let me try. Oh, I'll do this. I'll use. You see how that was said punish? When somebody does something unsafe, you get a full combo punish off of that. So when the opponent does something that should be their death, make them die for it. Don't let them get away with doing anything unsafe. Okay? Don't let them get away with squat. Speaking of what else not to let them get away with, don't let the opponent jump on you either. Oh. Don't let them jump at you. Whoops. Let me try this again. Don't let them get away with that. You can uppercut them. You can walk back. or you can anti-air them directly. And as a matter of fact, anti-airs are so strong in this game that they often lead to a full combo. You can up block them too. Hold on. And that lends a full combo. Let's see. Oh, you can just hold it. Okay. I don't use up block that much. It's very nice in clutch situations, but I much prefer a direct anti-air approach, as you can probably tell. But there's a bunch of different ways to kill people for jumping. And even if you don't anti-air people directly, sometimes just moving is an anti-air in and of itself, because probably the thing I should have started with is you need to learn how your character moves. Peep how quickly Sub-Zero walks forwards and backwards. This right here is very good. Look how quickly he switches direction. Also, dashing is really important in this game, but more important than dashing is a technique known as dash blocking. So what you can do is you can dash and then quickly block, and that cancels your dash. And it allows you to advance really forwards, or really fast, forwards and backwards. In MK11, this was known as wave dashing. And what you can do is you can cancel your dash into specials or normals. Because remember I said Sub-Zero's effective range was here? With a dash, now it becomes more extended. So you can dash and then do these same normals that previously didn't have as much range. Of course, this makes them a little bit slower, but it's good for whiff punishing. So if somebody does something and you see that they whiff, let's say they throw out a grab, right? You poke and then back dash and they grab. Now it's whiff punish city for them. You know what I'm saying? So if you're not dash blocking like this, you need to start doing it now. Not because I'm trying to give you a command, but because being able to quickly move on the screen is godlike in this game. Now, here's another technique that I haven't seen anybody but me do. I like to do something that I like to call backstepping, and that is canceling a backwards walk with a block. Now, not all characters can do it well, but Sub-Zero can. So, if you'll notice, when characters begin walking backwards, they accelerate really quickly backwards, but then they slow down afterwards. You know what I'm saying? But with backstepping, you're constantly accelerating, because what you're doing is you're holding backwards and tapping block at various intervals. And before you know it, you're full screen away. It's like a slower dash blocking, but it only works backwards. And it makes use of the quick acceleration that you get from quickly walking backwards. Okay. The benefit to this is that you escape much faster. So let me see if I can have Katana to jump. Oh, why didn't it play? Oh. So this is regular walking. Notice I'm maintaining my distance better. If I just walk backwards, she's gonna catch up to me. You see? But if I'm dash blocking, I maintain my distance better. You see what I'm saying? Of course, you can back dash block as well. And for many characters, this will be their fastest option. Some characters walk really quickly backwards. You see? But the point is, walking backwards is a great way to whiff punish characters too. That's some of my favorite stuff right there. This, I love doing that. Because look how far this hits from. You see? So movement is very good in this game. You know what I'm saying? So before you get to doing anything having to do with combos or anything like that, those are the first pieces of information you need to be gathering about your character. Okay? You need to be getting a feel for their movement. You need to be getting a feel for their normals, their pokes, their dashing. You know, those intangible things that can help you in a match. Like, for instance, knowing that Sub-Zero's standing 2 hits from here is really good. Because if you do a poke and then backdash, you might be able to convert off of something like this. You see what I'm saying? So when the opponent is running up on you, before they get here, you can hit them when they're this far with this. Or you can use this. You see what I'm saying? Or you can use this. And mix this stuff up. Don't always just go for this. Go for this sometimes as well. Instead of always doing this all the time, do forward 1. Backdash. You know what I'm saying? Mix it up. Every now and again, mix in the third low just to be sneaky. Don't do it all the time because that move's unsafe. But you know what I'm saying. But learn your character's frame data. And what I mean when I say frame data, I'm talking about these numbers down here. Know your fastest high attack, your fastest mid. Know whether your character has low or overhead attacks. Know their speed and know how safe they are on block. Try not to jump. Please don't jump unless you're doing a jump kick. And even this is risky. You know what I'm saying? But jumps are very floaty. As you can see, they don't go that far either. Jumping leads to free combos for skilled opponents. So the less you do it, the less combo damage you give up. Okay? And then lastly, just know how your character moves, how quickly they move, whether backstepping is good for your character or not. It's great for Sub-Zero. Let me see about Katana. It's not that bad for Katana. It's not that bad for her. It's okay. But knowing your character's buttons and movement is much more important than learning combos. Much, much more so. Because just by knowing your character's ranges, their movement and buttons, you can win matches just by playing solid, even if all you do are strings. You know what I'm saying? Because you might drop every combo, but if you know how to open people up, you can still give yourself opportunities that lesser opponents won't be able to get. You see what I'm saying? So I think this will be part 1. I'll make this a series because there's so much to cover and I can't put it all in one video, otherwise it'd be 2 hours long. You dig what I'm saying? And I may have talked long enough. But with that being said, I appreciate you guys for watching. Stay tuned for part 2. Peace.